Today on Monkey Life. Concerns grow when vet Cesar examines a lump on the face of newly arrived pet trade marmoset, Jenny.
The mass is rather big. Now that lump, who knows where it is?
Paulo goes all out to impress the rest of the boys as the park forms its first ever woolly bachelor group.
These are potentially very dangerous introductions. I mean, in the end, we might end up having a few cuts and scrapes and fights.
And an experimental new enclosure means Bengal's slow loris Axel finally goes outside, but still doesn't know what time of day it is. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Everybody's well aware that they need to be looked after carefully. They should be okay.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been just over a week since the park welcomed its two newest arrivals, female marmosets Reggie and Jenny. Both are victims of the British pet trade, whose owners could no longer care for them. Reggie was in good health, but there were concerns for Jenny. She has a large lump in her mouth that needs investigating. The team suspect an infection and have been giving her antibiotics, but it's time for the local vet to take a look.
We really need to see what's going on inside the mouth, whether there's any teeth that need to be removed and deal with that infection. And then we can think about getting her some companionship.
She was really good.
Steph delivers Jenny in a specially designed anaesthetic box. Vet Cesar Sastre gets ready to check her over.
Right, so let's prepare the anesthesia first.
Over the past week, the care team have monitored Jenny closely, making sure she takes her medication, putting her on a healthy diet, and keeping an eye on the lump.
Okay, that's fine. And the swelling is definitely going down.
When she's chewing, you can still see something there, but when she's got her mouth closed, there's a faint lump, but it's not anywhere near as visible now as it was when she arrived.
Well, let's have a look. Let's see what we've got. Yeah, you are a little thin. That's it.
Once the anaesthetic has taken effect, Cesar gives Jenny a full examination.
She's very thin.
He wants to make sure there are no sinister masses elsewhere.
So there's no marmoset wasting syndrome here at all. That's fine, but it's very skinny.
Next, he takes a look inside her mouth.
The mass is rather big. Teeth are really bad, all of them. But I think the problem is not the teeth, is that lump, obviously. Now, that lump, who knows where it is?
Cesar is concerned. Jenny's teeth are rotten due to poor diet, but the lump could be something far more worrying.
That lump, I think I can remove it. But if it's malignant, it's gonna be in the maxilla. I would take it out and send it for biopsy. And see, obviously, providing the x-rays are not showing something horrible.
Cesar wants to take a series of x-rays to check the marmoset's bone density, but also to see if there are tumours elsewhere, which could indicate the lump is malignant and has spread.
So far, everything is fine, and the important thing is that I cannot see any secondaries. The bones, they look all right. See anything else there? Right, okay, that's fine.
It's a glimmer of hope for the team. Next, he takes some bloods to be sent off for analysis and prepares to remove the lump.
Fortunately, it's not a difficult job, so it's going to take me 5 minutes, really, hopefully.
But it's not as straightforward as it appeared.
It's really hard, this.
The lump is firm and well-rooted in the jaw. Cesar can't remove it all, but manages to take a large piece to send to the lab to discover what sort of tumour he's dealing with.
So it's going to be pretty much a biopsy what we get, and if he's telling us that it's benign, then we can live with that.
He moves on to examine Jenny's rotten teeth and removes those he can.
Very good. Let's wake it up with the head down, eh?
Until the results come back, the team will have to put their plans for Jenny on hold.
Basically means she's not necessarily ready to throw into Marmoset introductions, because we kind of hope to introduce her to one or two of our other new girls. So it's going to be a case of really closely monitoring and just crossing our fingers and waiting for test results. So definitely not the simple operation we'd hoped it might be.
That's it, done. Let's put her back. You manage, Nick? Yeah.
The team will monitor Jenny as she begins to come round until she's recovered enough to go back to her house. Cesar is philosophical about the marmoset's chances.
It's a tumour, for sure. It's hard and there was no purulent material inside, so certainly it was a tumour. At least here she will have some treatment and we won't let her to suffer, that's for sure.
Jenny will be given pain relief and antibiotics for the next few days, while the team wait with everything crossed for the test results to come back. Breakfast at Sonny's Capuchin enclosure is scaling new heights this morning. The primate care team have a mass of freshly cut hazel browse and are stringing it up high on the climbing frame, all the way to the top.
Can you put one on the bottom of that dangly bit?
They're also adding slices of fresh apple to the mix.
What we've decided to do is basically make fruit trees, so it simulates their natural feeding behaviour from the fruiting trees out in the wild. So we're using apple today, and we've basically just stuck it onto the bushes that are in their enclosure to provide some lower level feeding for some of the animals that have a few mobility issues. But we've also got some browse, some hazel browse that we've cut, and we've put it right up the top of the towers as well. So we've tried to spread it throughout the whole enclosure to make sure that everybody is able to get some of the food.
The challenging enrichment is something new for this group of Capuchins, and for Donna and the team.
I actually haven't really done this enrichment to this extent in terms of putting the browse right at the tops of the towers. So I'm really excited to see who uses that and how well they can access the food, because some of it is quite difficult to get to. So they're going to have to, if the branches can't support their weight, they're going to have to try and pull them towards them so they can get the food. So yeah, hopefully it works.
The group of 22 are led by dominant male Sonny. He might not be the brightest Capuchin, but he makes up for it in stature, and the females love him. All the group, apart from female Terry, who was rescued from the pet trade, came from a Chilean laboratory in 2008. They're mainly individuals who struggled in some of the park's more feisty groups, some mentally and others physically. The enclosure has been designed to push those who are more capable and, at the same time, assist those with more limited mobility. It's been built to make the most of the space, providing lots of different areas. Important for this group, who don't always get on. But all the Capuchins are taking to today's task with relish. Robustus female Dot uses her core strength to reach out and prize an apple slice from a branch. Lizzie has headed high, but now she's there, she's not sure how to reach the tantalising treat. Time for Plan B. Expertly balancing on a narrow hose further down, and carefully selecting an apple slice. Female Scrapper finds some easy pickings and hurries off to eat the fruit in peace, away from the others. The females are enjoying their breakfast. In this group, they outnumber the boys.
There's only 2 males in the group, so the other one being Bruce. Sonny is probably the most impressive and in terms of looks, and he's the one that all of the females gravitate to. Unfortunately, he doesn't know how to mate, so the females do tend to go to Bruce after a little while. In terms of the females, there is also a very strict hierarchy. We've just had a bit of a switch, so the robustus, who are our wild-caught animals, used to rule the group. But now they're starting to age, they've kind of slipped a little bit. So we've got some of the other individuals, such as Scrapper, Tia, Veronica, that are kind of starting to take their place a little bit.
But no matter where they come in the pecking order, the whole group have risen to this morning's elevated challenge. It's tested their capabilities and provided a natural way of finding food, no matter what their age, mobility, or background. With the recent settled weather, most of the park's primates are spending their time outside in their enclosures. But it's not just about relaxing in the warm sunshine. To keep them all in tip-top physical condition, they need to be active, and the primate care staff do their best to encourage this. Today, the park's squirrel monkeys are getting a medley of hanging enrichment. Steph is putting out cups filled with wood wool, concealing tasty mealworms. She's adding fruit kebabs, secured in hard-to-reach locations, and pieces of fabric tied and knotted with even more delicacies for the group to find.
We have to make sure we put food out in a multitude of places. You want to make it challenging for the young guys, but also have a few pieces that are a little bit easier to get to for the older ladies. Although I have to say that the 2 old girls, considering they are older, are actually pretty good mobility-wise. And Lucille, you would think, was a much, much younger monkey, the way that she throws herself at enrichment.
There are now 5 squirrel monkeys in the group. Sadly, Topsy passed away from old age a few weeks ago, leaving a mix of 2 boys and 3 girls. And they all love to hunt and forage for food. Lucille is getting stuck in. But with all the enrichment on offer, she's not sure what to try out first. No such problems for the 2 younger members, female Nueve and the energetic young male Lopez. These 2 are constantly on the go, especially when confronted with something exciting and new. The other male in the group is Logan. He's big and butch and likes to act as leader of the group. The problem is, in black-capped squirrel monkey society, it's the females who are dominant.
He'd like to think he's in charge, but I think secretly it's the ladies that are running the show at the moment. The 2 kids, Nueve and Lopez, I say kids, they are technically mature adults now, but no one's told them. So they are chaotic, they are always causing problems, running around, hyperactive, playing. The 2 other girls, Turvy and Lucille, are older, so they take life at a bit more of a steady pace, although Lucille is very quick to jump into enrichment and things like that. But yeah, it's definitely the girls, I think, that rule the roost. It's just they let Logan pretend that he's actually in charge.
Steph is encouraged to see Turvy outside today, enjoying the enrichment. The elderly squirrel monkey was very close to her friend Topsy.
The 2 females had been here for years together. They were same age, both little old ladies. But it's actually been really nice to see how close Turvy's become to Lucille since then. The 2 older ladies are kind of sticking together a little bit, so I've seen them this morning. Actually, they went back to bed together and had a lovely sort of cuddle session together. So she actually seems to be getting a lot closer to some of the others because of losing Topsy.
The group are thoroughly enjoying the day's enrichment. Squirrel monkeys have excellent hand-eye coordination, with forward-facing eyes just like humans. This gives them great depth perception, making hunting for insects easy. Keeping this group busy and occupied in a captive environment is a constant challenge, but one the care team relish. It's the start of a very busy few weeks for the woolly monkey team at the park. Plans have been set in motion and big changes are afoot for the 23 monkeys that make up the 3 woolly troops. Following the arrival of 10-year-old female Pichua from the Netherlands, who now has Ayla as a temporary companion, the group's structure needs a rejig. It's a massive jigsaw puzzle, with the pieces not quite fitting together. The problem is, there are just too many male woolly monkeys.
We've got so many coming-of-age men in our woolly groups that we need to relieve the pressure. The one thing that we've learned about keeping healthy and happy groups of woolly monkeys is that social stress needs to be kept to a minimum in the captive situation. They have no way of getting away from each other, so when the houses become too crowded, especially with guys throwing their weight around, then something needs to be done in order to reduce that stress, and that means allowing some of the males to emigrate out of their natal group. So for the first time, we're starting a proper bachelor group here at the park.
Alison is aware of other primate parks with successful small bachelor groups and has decided to try a similar idea at Monkey World. The team has renovated an enclosure that used to house gibbons, adapting it to the needs of woolly monkeys. The previous residents, Jake and Zoe, have moved to the main gibbon complex. 4-year-old Carlos is brought across from Levar's group and is first to be released into the new house. He's still a youngster, and today will be a big deal for him. But he'll have the chance to settle before the arrival of resident number 2, Paulo. Paulo is 12 years old and a fully grown male. He's been leader of his group for a number of years. But recently, tensions have arisen with housemate Enzo, another adult male. The team have decided Paulo isn't the best choice as leader and might be better off away from the politics of a mixed-sex group. But the new plan is complex and challenging.
These are potentially very dangerous introductions. What we're relying upon is our knowledge of the individuals and the fact that on the whole, woolly monkeys are somewhat peaceful species of primate and hopefully will not turn on each other instantly. I mean, in the end, we might end up having a few cuts and scrapes and fights.
Both males are let into the playroom and, predictably, adult Paulo begins displaying, while youngster Carlos keeps his distance.
I'm hopeful. The woolly monkeys are reasonably peaceful and, generally speaking, don't want to tear each other up as much as other species of primate we have here at the park. So I'm hopeful that it'll reduce the stress all around the park and that we'll continue to have very healthy and happy woolly monkeys. So that'll be group number 4.
The pair will be given time to settle in before being joined by Manny and Claude, with the possibility of another young male from Chippy's group in the future. It's a crucial time for Monkey World's woolly monkeys, and, in particular, the males heading to the bachelor group. For the past few months, an exciting new building project has been going on at the park. The team are developing a new enclosure quite unlike any other at Monkey World. It's been specially designed for a very specific species, the Bengal slow loris.
It's very exciting and it's very experimental. Traditionally, loris are kept indoors in nocturnal houses, obviously because they're nocturnal, and our primate care staff want to be able to view them when they're awake, and we can't have primate care staff working here all through the night, so what we do traditionally is reverse their lighting. So we use a dim red light during our daytime, and then at their nighttime, we reverse things. So we have bright tube that come on, provide bright lights to make them go to sleep, and they feel that it's their daytime and therefore their bedtime.
The 6 lorises have only ever experienced indoor living conditions at the park. They're all Bengal slow lorises, and large enough in body size to cope with the British climate.
We feel that they'll be able to tolerate the temperatures that we have here in the UK much better than the smaller pygmy slow loris. They come from places like northern Vietnam and even up into India, where at night time the temperatures can go as low as freezing. So we're hoping that by providing them with a bit more of a natural enclosure. They're going to have those ranges in the temperature and also the humidity and just natural air and insects and natural plants, different environmental factors that they won't be able to do indoors. So we're really excited about it.
The enclosure has been covered with thick black mesh, allowing just enough sunshine through to mirror the dappled moonlight of their wild environment. And there are misting machines to help increase the moisture in the air, mimicking more tropical conditions. Once the new space has been tried and tested, the park's visitors will be able to see nocturnal animals for the first time.
It's completely new for Monkey World. We've never actually been able to show our visitors any of our nocturnal animals. We've only been working with Loris for a few years, and during that time we've had some exceptionally exciting stories, and so far the visitors haven't been able to share any of that or see any of that. So now, for the first time, they're actually going to be able to immerse themselves into a sort of twilight world and see some of these nocturnal primates at their best, acting naturally and behaving completely normally.
But before that can happen, the lorises need to see it for themselves. Primate care staff member Karen is going to encourage Axel and his partner Nikki to try it out first. But to reach the new outdoor enclosure, the pair will need to make their way along a darkened tunnel, and the species aren't known for being quick movers.
Obviously, up until this point, there's been a dead end at the end, so it might take them a while to realise that actually now it's open and it's got a big enclosure to go into. So we'll see how long it takes them, but fingers crossed they'll make it out today.
Axel and Nikki have had access to the tunnel for a few weeks in order to get used to it. But Karen may still need to be patient.
Come on, Axel, out you come!
It takes 2 hours before Axel finally makes it to the end, and realises it now opens out to something new and spacious. Surprisingly unperturbed, he's soon off exploring. It's amazing how quickly a slow loris can move when he wants to. There are all sorts of new smells and sounds to get used to, and a whole new expanse to explore. Plus, there's the added bonus of hidden insects and grubs in the foliage. Karen's only problem now is how on earth to persuade Axel back into the tunnel and the safety of the house. Patience will be needed, and possibly the lure of a tasty waxworm or two. Next time on Monkey Life, Alison takes the decision to temporarily close the park as a global pandemic takes hold.
Monkeys, apes, prosimians, great apes, human beings, all of us primates, and all of us being able to share viruses and disease. So I was concerned about all of those things.
And Orangutan Awan shows that even in troubling times, youngsters will still do their best to find fun. Today on Monkey Life, Alison takes the decision to temporarily close the park as a global pandemic takes hold.
Monkeys, apes, prosimians, great apes, human beings, all of us primates, and all of us being able to share viruses and disease. So I was concerned about all of those things.
The team's work continues, especially when one-eyed chimp Clin suffers a life-threatening injury.
It's split in such a way that both the inner line of the eyelid and the outer eyelid is damaged.
And Orangutan Awan shows even in troubling times, youngsters will still do their best to find fun. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
She's fantastic. Beautiful chimp. Really good shape.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. The country and the world is in the grip of the coronavirus pandemic. The effects of COVID-19 have been far-reaching, taking their toll on people, businesses, and economies. Across the UK, animal parks, rescue centres and zoos have all been seriously affected, and Monkey World is no exception. On the 13th anniversary of the death of Jim Cronin, the founder of Monkey World and Alison's late husband, she took the tough decision to close the park to visitors.
This has been one of the biggest issues that we've ever had to deal with, and we had to do so because the coronavirus threat, if you will, was becoming clearly that intense and serious of an issue that I could see the writing on the wall. And what sometimes people neglect to either remember or even realize is that we have here at this park a very tight-knit, very close group of primates. Monkeys, apes, prosimians, great apes, human beings, all of us primates, and all of us being able to share viruses and disease. So I was concerned about all of those things. By closing the park and keeping visitors out for the indefinite future, it means that we're just trying to protect our primate care staff who are essential for looking after all of our rescued monkeys and apes. And that's just an obligation that I felt very serious about. It's a never-ending battle. I think about it 24/7. Doesn't stop.
The health and safety of the primate care team is the main priority, but protecting their charges is another significant issue. The COVID-19 pandemic presents a significant threat to human life, but it's also a potentially deadly situation for primates, particularly great apes. Our closest living relatives, they share more than 96% of human DNA and are susceptible to catching human diseases. The fact that COVID-19 can be fatal for humans leads experts to fear it could also prove devastating to great apes.
Over the years, any number of viruses have sprung up from wildlife populations, whether it be in Africa or in Asia. And what is clear is that our close genetic relationship with the great apes potentially makes them more susceptible to sharing these viruses than perhaps the smaller monkeys. I hesitate when I'm saying all of this because there is no concrete evidence or proof or long-term studies on any of these things. But this particular strain, COVID-19, has quite a profound effect on people, and its transmission is alarmingly quick and efficient. And so that's the concern. What happens to a group of captive chimpanzees if their human carers bring it to them? To be honest, the unknown is perhaps the greatest sort of scare of all. We just don't know. Maybe it wouldn't affect them at all, but it's a risk we can't take.
Aware the situation is likely to last for some time, the park has started to stock up on vital supplies of food and medicines for the primates, plus essential PPE for the staff. It's a notable change to the care team's working environment.
It's very, very different working here at the moment. Obviously, we're being very, very careful with everything that we do, trying to keep to the social distancing rules. So yeah, we're being very, very careful with everything. I'd say General work-wise, we've had to slow down a little bit with regards to going in and out of the houses and things like that to keep up with our gloves and our masks and the PPE that we need to wear to make sure that we keep the animals safe. So it certainly is very different, but we're keeping going and doing the best we can with it.
Life is very different for all the monkeys and apes too. Gone is the personal interaction with the keepers.
There's nothing in them, Patricia. You've got to play with them.
Unless needed for medical conditions or administering drugs. But the biggest difference for everyone at the park is the lack of visitors. How this will affect the primates remains to be seen.
What's very, very clear is that especially the chimpanzees, but I would include a lot of the other primates as well, love seeing visitors and are sort of looking around now because there are no people to check out. They love checking people out, and a lot of the time they even engage with our visitors and play, you know, games of chase back and forth from the windows, but it's always on their own terms. That's been taken away from them now.
And it's not just the chimps. Donna looks after the park's 5 Capuchin groups.
It's difficult to tell how much it's affecting the Capuchins. Some of the individuals do interact with the public a lot. Some of them don't really pay any attention at all. But it may well be that without the public here, we do see a bit of change between the interactions of individuals as well. So time will tell really, but it is a very different atmosphere at the moment.
The situation may be tough, but Alison is always looking for the positives.
Upside, I suppose. And I always try and balance things out and not get too focused on any one thing. Upside is that it encourages them to be more involved with each other. And that's a good thing. But they're definitely missing not seeing all of our visitors, for sure. It's a quiet and different place now, and not better for it.
With no end in sight and guidelines and rules changing weekly, the team at Monkey World are trying to adapt to the new normal as best they can.
Nothing is ever going to be foolproof, but we've tried to cover every aspect of where there's going to be overlap, where disease could enter the park, and how we're going to mitigate it finding its way to our rescued primates. So everybody is working really hard and dedicated, giving days off and stuff, and I'm just trying to keep my eye on the ball and make sure that we have enough money to ride through all of this and to carry on at the same standard of care because, you know, I don't want any of the monkeys or apes to have a lesser quality of life just because, once again, human beings have done something that affects them.
The nation may be in lockdown, but for the primates and staff at the park, life continues, albeit with some added precautions. Kat is busy setting Tuan's orangutan group a challenge. She's attempting to put large pieces of melon into specially designed puzzle feeders.
Unfortunately, I'm not an orangutan and I only have 2 hands.
It's proving to be something of a test for her too.
My hands are nowhere near as strong as an orangutan's, and then they've got 4 of them. So hopefully for them, it won't be as quite as tricky as it is for me. But obviously I'm putting it inside. Once this is fastened, the holes are much smaller, so they're going to have to really manipulate the hose and then using their nails break up the melon inside. So it's going to be really a challenge for them, even though they are very clever and very strong. So hopefully it will keep them busy for a good long time.
The feeders are a useful way of hiding breakfast. It was pretty tricky putting the melons in, so they should be pretty tough to get out. The group, led by Tuan, are let into the enclosure. Normally the feeders are suspended, but today Kat is giving her charges an easier option by throwing them in so they can tackle them where they fall. Tuan wastes no time in attacking the puzzle feeder. He has the strength to pull it apart with ease, but the tightly woven hose proves a bit of a challenge for his huge hands. In the wild, orangutans exploit seasonal foods, remembering where to find them in the forest. Some fruits are well protected, so they have dexterous hands and feet to manipulate them. Tuan manages to free the entire melon and heads off to eat it in peace. Arme's technique is slightly different. She pulls the feeder apart with her hands and feet, then uses her teeth to bite off pieces of melon bit by bit. Lucky has already got her hands on a prize and headed up high to eat it. Melons are a real treat for the group. Fruit is restricted in the diet of all the park's primates due to the high sugar content. So today, the orangutans are relishing the sweet flesh. Arme has headed to one of the hammocks, out of sight of the others, to enjoy another prized piece of melon. But Tuan spots her. Male orangutans are not as active or agile, but spurred on by the thought of the sweet fruit, he's straight up the pole. Arme is no pushover, but she's not going to argue with the huge male. Even one of the youngest members of the group, Awan, has managed to find some melon and is on the lookout for more. There's plenty to go round for everyone. Having devoured her share of the melons, Awan shows just how grown-up she's become by grooming gentle giant Tuan. But she's still a youngster at heart. A discarded tub trug piques her interest and proves there's always fun to be had. In the wild, chimps can be volatile, and conflict is common within groups, although they do also form political alliances with others to maintain their status. These same natural instincts remain in captivity, and cuts and scrapes are part of everyday life. At the park, most of the chimps' injuries are minor and heal without medical intervention, but every so often a more serious wound will need the attention of the vet. And today is one of those days. Elderly female chimp Clin has a serious-looking cut underneath her eye, and wildlife vet John Lewis has been called in to take a look. The situation is made more difficult because the park, along with the whole country, is still in lockdown, and Clin's history means she needs immediate attention.
Clin actually only has one eye. She came to us with only one eye from the lab, and that lower eyelid has split the rim or the margin of the eyelid, which means as it heals, it could heal sort of pulling away so that when she blinks, her eye isn't kept moist. It could also leave sort of a bit of a gaping situation where grass seeds or soil or muck could get in. And with only one eye, we really need to err on the side of caution and make sure that we get that lower eyelid repaired and fixed. We can't have a blind chimp. She wouldn't do well in the house or the enclosure or with the other chimpanzees. It just wouldn't be possible to keep her going. So this is a life-threatening injury for Clin. She doesn't have another eye to rely upon. So quite a serious day.
Clin came to the park in 1990, along with Kathy and Grisby. All three were caught in the Congo for use in a biomedical laboratory in France, from where they were rescued. She's a bit of a loner in Bart's group, often displaying odd behaviour, including food hoarding, probably as a result of her time in the laboratories all those years ago.
Yeah, just the antake one. That one. Yeah.
Luckily, like all the chimps at the park, she's been trained to take a hand injection, and Cara manages to give her an anaesthetic at the first time of asking.
Good girl.
It doesn't need long for the drug to take effect. And with the help of animal director Jeremy, Clin is whisked across to the park's hospital. The chimp team take the opportunity to weigh Clin before she's intubated. Then John can get his first good close-up look at the damage under her eye.
It's split in such a way that both the inner line of the eyelid and the outer eyelid is damaged. Chimps make an awful mess of each other. They can do a lot of damage, and presumably somebody's done that to her.
It's going to be an extremely intricate operation, not helped by the swelling around the wound.
Unfortunately, that bit belongs in there. Well, that can be done. Okay. It's doable, I think, in a reasonable fashion.
John will need to realign both the inner and outer eyelid and carefully stitch it so that the tear duct can function properly. Without this, Clin's eyesight will be dramatically impaired, and for a chimp with only one eye, that would be a disaster.
Looks getting a bit better.
It may be a small cut, but it requires a steady hand and plenty of patience. Clin's future is in the balance, but John is an expert and takes his time. After numerous stitches, he manages to successfully close the wound.
That looks okay. It gets more tricky down here. But I don't think we can do much better than that. I think that's quite good, actually.
The delicate part of the operation is over, but there's plenty of hard work ahead for the care team. Once Clin is returned to the house, they'll need to watch over her and ensure she doesn't damage the stitches so the wound can heal. She's given pain relief and antibiotics, and will have to be kept isolated until the team are happy she's recovered enough to mix with the rest of the group again. Hananya's troop of 18 are in for a bit of fun this morning. The primate care staff are putting out footballs that have been kindly donated and spreading them around the large enclosure, using their skills to get some as high as they can. A few of the footballs have been smeared in honey, one of the chimps' favourite treats. Others are just to play with. They'll need to move quickly if they want to score a tasty treat. Cherry leads the way out, along with some of the other more dominant females. But there's a distinct lack of excitement amongst the group this morning. The footballs fail to catch their attention. Even leader Hananya is more interested in searching for bits of browse and vegetables put out for breakfast, bypassing the honey-smeared balls. The care team, watching from up high, change tactics. To grab the chimp's attention, they throw in some extra footballs.
Over that. Hey, Nat. Patricia.
The group can't ignore incoming shots heading their way. Patricia is straight on the ball. And two of her teammates, Arthur and high-ranking female Johnny, join her for an inspection. The scent of sweet honey has got their attention. Arthur heads off to find his own ball. But is it a honey treat or an own goal? Cherry has definitely struck lucky with hers. The group clearly have a taste for the task now, and there are plenty of balls to go around for everyone. Although low-ranking Zeynep has to work a little bit harder for hers. It's landed in the middle of a prickly gorse bush. Thelma gets involved too, and this morning she has mischief and trouble written all over her. She's now 6 and fast heading to those awkward teenage type years where she's not quite yet an adult and needs to find her place in the group. But when your main guardians are the more dominant individuals in the troop, like Mum Cherry and Hananya's second-in-command Simon, you can still get away with most things. And she knows it. This morning, low-ranking Zeynep is the victim of her mischief. Thelma is well aware her privileged position will protect her from any retribution. Leader Hananya finds himself in the middle of the melee and attempts to calm things down. But Thelma is proving to be a little terror and keeps on provoking poor Zeynep. Hananya has had enough and steps in to put Thelma in her place. Trouble averted, it's time to relax. Cherry and Cookie lap up the sunshine, while some of the group set off on the morning patrol. But Patricia hasn't given up on the balls just yet. The honey may be gone, but she wants to make sure nothing is hidden inside. Next time on Monkey Life. Woolly monkey Ayla meets the new man in her life.
Oh, that's very nice.
Who's determined to grab her attention. And Saki monkeys Desmond and Chloe demonstrate they're still nuts about each other. Today on Monkey Life. Woolly monkey Ayla meets the new man in her life.
Oh, that's very nice.
Who's determined to grab her attention. Orangutan Jin cuddles up to the new woman in his life.
They are actually in love, they just don't leave each other alone.
And Saki monkeys Desmond and Chloe demonstrate they're still nuts about each other. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
Hopefully it'll just be a quick grab and into the box and that'll all be done.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been just over a week since the park set up their first bachelor group of woolly monkeys. Moving the various individuals around from 4 different groups has been a massive jigsaw puzzle, but all the pieces are starting to come together. 3-year-old Claude has become the 3rd member of the newly formed bachelors, leaving what has now become Enzo's group to join Paulo and Carlos. Their new home is a wonderful outdoor space.
So we've had a busy week. Paulo and Carlos went together just really, really well. 2 really nice boys. They're quite big. They like to sort of flex their muscles a little bit, but overall they're really nice. So they just formed a really sort of like tight little friendship straight away and had a lot of fun together in their first couple of days. Claude's only a young lad, he's only 3.5, but he's quite a big boy, so he was a little bit wary of Carlos, but for such a young boy, he was surprisingly confident, showing interest, but never really wanted to quite sort of go over and say hello on the first day, but now that they've had a bit of time together to relax. Carlos is only just coming up to 5, so he's not an adult yet. He's just a very big, scary-looking boy for other boys to meet. But yeah, he's quite nice. So they're all doing really, really well, those 3 so far.
Moving Claude from the Pond Woollies has freed up space for female Ayla to join that group. For the last few months, she's been living with Pichua, a 10-year-old female recently arrived from the Netherlands. The team have plans for her too. She'll be joining Lavar's group at the Pond Woollies, once Manny has left there to become a bachelor boy. It's a complicated but essential plan to keep stress levels down and the Woolies healthy. Today, the team are concentrating all their efforts on moving Ayla with as little stress as possible. She's been successfully crated and brought across to her new house. The team are going to release her into one of the bedrooms. In order for Ayla to get used to her new surroundings, the 3 females in the group, Pakaya, and her daughters Oriana and Enya, are outside. The new boss, Enzo, has been kept inside, but in the playroom, away from the bedrooms. Taking on the responsibility of his own troop has been a big step for the dominant male.
Enzo is quite a small male to really be able to take over a group. Him and Paulo, however, seem to have a slight switch around in dynamics. The girls much prefer Enzo, so he seems to have a little bit of a way with the ladies, so he was already naturally taken over that part socially within the group, spending time with Pakaya, fathering little Enya. So we don't think he's going to have any complaints with having another lady to look after. And now that, Paulo's not in the group anymore, we'll probably start to see him sort of bulking out a little bit and becoming that sort of more strong-headed, dominant male character.
Once Ayla looks settled, the primate care team open the slide to the playroom to allow her to meet Enzo. Apart from the few months she's just spent with Pichua, Ayla has lived with and had the support of her mother since she was born. Understandably, she's wary of the new male. But within a few minutes, the pair are snuffling, the woolly way of saying hello.
Oh, that's very nice.
Ayla feels comfortable enough to eat, but her lack of attention frustrates Enzo, who puts on a macho display to impress her. She's not sure what to make of it, but it's early days with plenty of time for Enzo to grow into his new role, with Ayla as one of his ladies. Orangutans are the largest arboreal animals on the planet. In the wild, they spend most of their time high up in the tree canopy, feeding, sleeping, and playing. But in captivity, they can be more sedentary, and it's often difficult to motivate them to exhibit more natural behaviours. It's a challenge the park's primate care team takes seriously. They're constantly trying to find new ways to keep their charges active, on the move, and above the ground. Today, James is trying out a new idea. He's going to attempt to encourage the nursery orangutans up high, despite the fact the group are already settled in their outdoor enclosure.
I've designed these with some kongs that we get donated, call them the arboreal tree feeders, and what we do is we chuck these up to a cargo net, and it just makes all the orangutans go up and then feed a little bit like fruit hanging from the trees, more natural, and they really, really enjoy it.
The feeders have been stuffed with healthy snacks, including beetroot, apples, cranberries, and raisins. But freeing the treats from the feeders will be a fiddly job, even for the nimble-fingered orangutans. Sylvester has a head start. He's already halfway up the climbing frame. He's 11 years old and a good problem solver. He unhooks a Kong and starts to work out how to reach the food. He has large hands, so it's a bit tricky, but he doesn't give up. While Sylvester is in his element up high, nursery matriarch O'Sheen is hard to persuade off the ground. She gathers up all the feeders that have fallen to the floor and begins to work her way through them, helped by Rika. It's the youngsters who have truly taken on the task, having fun and keeping active while they're at it. Bulu Mata has learned from watching Sylvester. Enrica is also studying her mentor at work, from very close quarters. The youngest member of the group, 4-year-old Mimi, is copying Oshin's technique. Oshin adopted the orphaned youngster who arrived from Moscow Zoo, and Mimi has learned a lot from her foster mum. Including not to share food. But she needs to be on her guard. Rika is watching closely. And when Mimi heads off to find more feeders, she moves in. Mimi heads back to distract her with a roly-poly play fight. Back up high, Sylvester demonstrates his love for any form of enrichment and stays focused. Since his old sparring partner Jin left to start a new life 6 months ago, he's relished being top man of the group.
It's certainly calmed down a lot since Jin left. Sylvester's much, much happier without Jin here. They were good mates for many, many years, but it just got to that point, as it always does with orangutan males when they grow up and get to that sexual maturity age, they start to try and impress the females around them. And it just got too out of hand, and since Jin left, Sylvester's chilled out a lot more. He's much, much happier.
So contentment reigns, not only at Monkey World's nursery group, but also nearly 200 miles away, at Wingham Wildlife Park in Kent, where Jin has a new partner and companion, all to himself. It's the first time the wildlife park has cared for orangutans, and Jin and his new partner Molly have moved into a new home, purpose-built just for them. The newly loved-up pair got on from day one, delighting their keepers.
Every animal we bring into the park takes a while to settle down, and we always say at least 2 months to settle the animal down, but with Jin and Molly, they just seemed to just fall in together. It was just really, really quick. We was really so pleased. Everything just happened so well.
At 8 years old, Molly is younger than Jin by 2 years, but he's clearly smitten.
Jin and Molly, right from the start, they really hit it off. Jin is definitely Molly's shadow. If you're looking for Jin, just find Molly and he'll be right by there. And he'll do anything for her. If she's outside and she wants some food, he just knows and he goes indoors, he'll bring it out for her. Blankets, whatever she needs, she gets from Jin. He's really gentle, and Molly, I think she saw an opportunity to have someone to have under her thumb. But he's certainly, he's probably the most gentle primate we've got in the whole park. He really is absolutely lovely. I think it's been the perfect pairing, it really has.
The move from their previous homes was necessary for both orangutans, for similar reasons. In the wild, orangutans are semi-solitary and don't live in social groups like some other primate species. It means captive orangutans often need to be found new homes as they mature. But now Jin has his own household, and a female he adores.
He was fun when he come, and he still is fun now, but he's in love. And he's like a teenager boy that he's found his first girlfriend, and no one else matters but Molly in his eyes. And you can see he cuddles her all the time, they sleep together all the time, they're just inseparable. Every time she moves, he moves, he follows her around. It's really hard when you say an animal's in love, but they are actually in love, they just don't leave each other alone.
In the past 2 weeks, the care team have welcomed 3 newcomers to the ever-increasing population of marmosets at the park. The trio were all victims of the British pet trade, but came from different backgrounds. Millie suffered terrible abuse, and as a result is stressed and very nervous. Reggie was cared for by her owner to the best of her ability and had outside space. While Jenny's owner was well-meaning, but was unable to provide the facilities she needed. Today, they're going to be introduced to each other. However, Reggie has assumed a new title, because the park already has a marmoset called Reggie.
We kind of refer to her as Queenie now, which I think kind of suits her. She's got that regal, we are not amused kind of look to her.
The introductions were put on hold because Jenny had a very large lump in her mouth which needed examining. Following a health check and lab tests, which revealed the lump wasn't malignant, she's now been given the all clear. It means today, all three ladies can meet up, in the hope they'll form their own little female group.
3 girls is new and different for us. I'm hoping that they'll just sort of all really want the company and kind of settle down together.
Since arriving, all the girls have had their own bedrooms, but been able to see, smell and hear each other in the marmoset's large domestic house.
How are we feeling? Are we all ready to be friendly?
Steph opens the slides between all 3 bedrooms. They might be small, but marmosets can still be aggressive and inflict some serious wounds if things go wrong.
Who's that, Jenny?
Jenny is the bravest and most inquisitive of the trio, moving through the rooms, scent marking as she goes. Her confidence stems from having lived with another marmoset in her previous home, although her mate died a while ago.
The other 2 haven't actually left their own rooms yet, but she seems quite relaxed and chilled, whereas Millie is just frozen in position at the moment.
Millie is extremely nervous, not surprising given her traumatic background. She hasn't lived with other marmosets and was mistreated by people, so the team have worked hard to build a rapport with her in a very short space of time. At first, Queenie is also nervous. She's lived on her own since being taken from her mum for the British pet trade. She makes little calls, then overcomes her fear, moving into the same room as Jenny.
They're both sort of interested, but they're both playing it a bit coy. They're kind of moving past each other, but not sort of reacting.
Perhaps sensing the caution and lack of aggression, Millie also starts to explore the other bedrooms.
It's nice and calm, touch wood. There's been no negatives.
Millie even braves close proximity to her other housemates. It's a huge step forward.
Millie's starting to get a bit more confident now. She's moving around the rooms, so they're sort of passing each other more frequently. So we'll just keep an eye. If we can get them together for the whole day, and then maybe everybody separate overnight and then go again tomorrow, great. So yeah, we'll just take it at their pace, really.
Steph will monitor the trio for the rest of the day. She'll try the same routine tomorrow, in a softly approach to see how things develop. But for now, it's all positive. It's been a few months since Saki monkey Chloe underwent major dental work to remove a number of problem teeth. She's now a whole lot happier, and her appetite is as good as ever. Today, the staff are giving Chloe and her mate Desmond one of their favourite foods. Nuts, still attached to the brows. The branches are placed all around the enclosure, creating new perches to entice the pair to climb and give their bodies a workout. In the wild, Saki monkeys spend most of the time in the tree canopy, and the team want to encourage natural feeding behaviours. The pair are let out. And, true to form, where one goes, the other follows. Chloe and Desmond are absolutely devoted. It's a remarkable relationship, considering the two have been together for less than 2 years. Their bond is incredibly tight. They regularly greet each other with little nose rubs and continuously follow each other around. There's quite an age gap between the two. At 27, Chloe is no spring chicken. In fact, she's the oldest surviving Saki in Europe. She's fit and healthy, and, despite a few missing teeth, capable of getting stuck into the nuts on offer. Desmond is approximately half Chloe's age, and a bit more cautious than his mate. He takes his role as a male protector seriously, checking things out to make sure everything is safe for his female before devouring some of the hazelnuts. The pair used to live with the neighbouring squirrel monkeys. But some of the youngsters in that group proved too boisterous for Desmond and Chloe, and the team decided to give them their own space. Recently, however, they've been joined in their enclosure by a common marmoset called Loki. Rescued from the pet trade, he struggled to come to terms with adapting to life with other marmosets. Loki had never lived with others of his own kind, and his social skills are non-existent. He just can't make friends with other marmosets. Now he's joined the Saki monkeys, and while they're not best buddies, Loki now has companions to enrich his life, even if they don't constantly interact. With the heavier Saki monkeys content to stick to the enclosure's lower branches, and the more nimble Loki able to scamper around the higher canopy, it seems to work. But then, very little could come between these two loved-up Sakis. Things went fairly well when the park's 3 new female marmosets were introduced to each other. But the team are aware relationships among the small primates sometimes break down. So they need a backup plan, involving some males, just in case. The park currently has 2 male marmosets the girls could be paired with in the future. Ronnie and Jock, both rescued from the pet trade. But as Alison is inundated with requests to rehome marmosets and the complex is full to bursting, the team can't afford any surprise additions. That's why the 2 boys are going to have vasectomies.
We try and get a few of our boys when we have days like this. So if any groups break down or anything like that, we're not limited. They can go with other boys or with girls because we're not going to breed from them and they're all ready to go.
Jock is first up. He's an older male, thought to be in his early to mid-teens. He's anaesthetised using a specially designed box for small primates.
Okay.
Local vet Cesar Sastre has done many of these operations before, and it can be a fiddly job.
That's great.
A vasectomy is a simple operation where a small piece of the tube connecting the testes to the urethra is removed. Jock weighs only 320 grams, and the vessels needing to be snipped are minuscule. They're also surrounded by nerves and arteries, so Cesar needs a steady hand.
Do you see the little tube down there?
But he's well versed in the procedure.
It's very fiddly, this operation, yes. So finding the duct that you need to cut is quite challenging. But we've done it many times, so we'll manage to find it again.
After some careful probing, he identifies the tube and carefully ties off both ends. Before making the snip.
Okay, so that's 1 done. Let's go for number 2.
The whole procedure is then repeated on the other side.
And that's it. Yeah, baby, have fun. And no babies.
The operation has been a success, and Jock's recovery time will be minimal too. He should be up and about quickly. But Cesar now has to repeat the whole process again on Ronnie.
Yes, please, yeah.
And he'll be hoping it goes just as smoothly.
Okay, very good.
Next time on Monkey Life. Chimp Kalu learns to cooperate when she's moved on to daily insulin injections to tackle her diabetes.
Shoulder? Oh, girl Kalu.
And the clever Capuchins solve a prickly problem. Today on Monkey Life, Chimp Kalu learns to cooperate when she's moved on to daily insulin injections to tackle her diabetes.
Shoulder? Oh, it's a good girl, Kalu.
The guenons welcome a new addition to the family.
Baby is a little bit smaller than Biff, but looking great, you know, all fingers, toes, everything's present.
And the clever Capuchins solve a prickly problem. Monkey World in Dorset, buried deep in the English countryside, is the largest sanctuary of its kind on the planet. The team, led by Dr. Alison Cronin, rescue and rehabilitate abused and unwanted primates from all over the world.
You just never know how it's going to work.
The park provides a home for more than 260 monkeys and apes from 24 different species. It's been 5 months since Chimp Kalu arrived at the park. She'd been kept as a pet in South Africa for more than 35 years, without company of her own kind. But despite this, the elderly female is settling in well with Brian's group. Introductions so far have gone fairly smoothly, and Kalu is now enjoying the outside enclosure. But her health is giving cause for concern.
Kalu's an older animal and she obviously lived on her own for a long time, so it's quite difficult to separate whether it's just behaviourally that she's an older chimp that's stuck in her ways and this is all new to her, or whether actually she's just not feeling very well. And so I think we have to rule out the latter and make sure she's as healthy as she can be so that she can cope with introductions, which for any animal is a stressful time.
Blood tests taken in South Africa and a later health check at the park showed Kalu has type 2 diabetes. As a result, she was put on oral medication to reduce the amount of sugar she releases and absorbs, and her diet is carefully managed. But she hasn't improved as much as the team would have liked.
Oh, Kalu! Hey, beautiful. Hi. Oh, this is good.
They've now taken the big decision to move Kalu onto daily injectable insulin.
Shoulder? Oh, it's a good girl, Kalu.
But the change in treatment creates a whole host of different issues for the primate care team and Kalu to overcome.
Good girl. Well done, Kalu.
Yeah, I mean, it's a big decision to put an animal on insulin because you're making a commitment that you can get that animal over to you firstly on a daily basis in a reliable way and at the same time each day to provide them with that medication. And it's quite an advanced behaviour and one that has to be reinforced at quite a high level to make sure that you don't lose that behaviour. So it was a big decision. But of course, we're trying to integrate Kalu into the group, and until she's feeling well and we've got her medical issues under control, it's very difficult to move forward with the introduction. So she's been a difficult one and it's been a long road with her and we're not really there yet.
The team are still trying to understand her likes and dislikes.
She's so incredibly fussy. Like, she'll love food one day. Like, so for instance, yesterday, strawberries were the best thing in the world. Today, they weren't worth getting out of bed for. So it's just a constant battle with you because you change your mind every day on what foods you like. Yeah.
Kalu has her glucose levels checked regularly each day. The results indicate how much insulin she requires. The fact that she cooperates demonstrates the level of trust the primate care staff have already established with her in a relatively short period.
Oh, you've come down a bit. That's good. Good job.
The team have also been able to draw on their experience with Bart, whose type 1 diabetes they're successfully managing. But Kalu's background is more complex.
We've still got a long way to go with her, I think, but she's certainly in a better place, and we are providing her with some social time with the other chimps and hopefully making her feel better. We're taking it a day at a time with Kalu at the moment.
It's a challenging time for Kalu and her carers, but the team will continue to monitor her closely as she adjusts to life at the park. In the last few days, there's been some very exciting news for the park's red-bellied guenon family. Benny and Nia have welcomed a second baby to join Biff, their firstborn.
Nia's doing really well. Baby is a little bit smaller than Biff, but looking great, you know, all fingers, toes, everything's present. Nia's been pretty good. She's been carrying baby round, making sure that nobody's getting too close, and everything's looking really good.
The staff aren't sure what sex the baby is, so it doesn't have a name yet. The new infant spent the first day indoors with her family to give Mum Nia a chance to recover and enable the team to keep a watchful eye on the pair. They needn't have worried. Nia is proving to be an amazing mum, just as she was with daughter Biff, who's now just over a year old. Because space is at a premium, the park doesn't generally breed from its resident primates, keeping any spare capacity for those still in need of rescue. But the family are the only red-bellied guenons known in captivity. Parents Benny and Nia were stolen from the wilds of Benin, where they would have lived in sociable family groups. That's why the team decided it would be good for the pair to have a family of their own. It's proved to be a rewarding decision.
Nia seems pretty chilled with the new baby. She obviously had Biffy that she raised, and there were a few times that her mothering style was slightly unorthodox, but she kind of got there in the end. She seems a bit more on top of it with this newest arrival. She is still Nia though, so she does do things like plonk baby down next to her on a platform so both hands are free for foraging so she can scoff as much food as possible. But she's very attentive when baby sort of starts to move or she wants to get up and move away. She does grab baby and make sure that she's looking after it.
Nia has the added help of Dad Benny, who's proving to be an excellent parent too. As well as giving his partner space to look after their newborn, he also keeps their hyperactive daughter Biff busy and entertained. The guenons have two additional housemates in their enclosure, Patas monkey Mitza and the park's oldest ring-tailed lemur, George. Mitza seems keen to get a look at the new addition to her home. She's a very observant monkey and extremely patient, even when little Biff is teasing her. She can be very tolerant. The new infant is proving an interesting distraction.
Mitza's not quite brave enough to go close, but Nia's very chilled out about it. She's certainly not chasing Mitza off, and she seems pretty relaxed. You know, she knows Mitza and George are no threat. George, who knows if he's even noticed there's another guenon there. The only person that Nia's really told off is us occasionally. If we come over to see what the baby's doing, she does sort of jump over just to make sure we're not trying anything. But everything seems really chilled there.
Guenon Nia is taking motherhood in her stride, with plenty of love to spare for both her babies. Another youngster who's been showered with care and attention since arriving at the park is 3-year-old Hujan. He's now a fully integrated member of Tuan's group of orangutans. And with foster mum Roro for support, he's thriving and growing bolder by the day. The young male, whose mother rejected him, has come on leaps and bounds since being rehomed 18 months ago from a zoo in Germany. The members of his new family at the park have welcomed him with open arms. Leader Tuan is 33 years old and a great role model for the youngster. He's good with the adult females and the younger members of his group. Roro has become Hujan's adoptive mum and does a great job of looking out for him. She's always there to offer comfort when needed. He also has the added backup of Ame, an experienced foster mum who used to be in charge of the nursery. Like all youngsters, Hujan loves to play. He spends most of his time outside on the climbing frame and cargo nets. He has amazing strength and agility and navigates the network of hoses and climbing poles with ease. He also has a friend and playmate in 8-year-old female Awan. She's now growing up fast. But still loves nothing better than messing around and having fun. It's been a life-changing 18 months for little Hujan, but he's come through with flying colours. He's a happy and well-socialised little chap, comfortable with all his orangutan family. After months of planning, the park's big woolly swap is almost complete. The penultimate piece of the puzzle, moving 8-year-old Manny from the top Woolies over to join the newly formed bachelor group, is about to take place. It's the most challenging piece of the jigsaw for the team, and a big move for feisty male Manny. He's lived in the same group since the day he was born. But now he's reached maturity, competition with his dad, Livar, means he has to move on.
He's a very serious monkey, so the other 3 boys in that bachelor group are fairly silly and a bit playful. Once they're relaxed, we know that they'll all get along. We're not sure how Manny's going to take kind of coming into that group with 2 new males that he doesn't know. We're just going to have to sort of keep a close eye between him and Paulo, because he might see him as his immediate sort of threat. But because, again, Paulo is not a challenging male, we're hoping that Manny will just kind of move in nice and smoothly, and then all just get along.
Manny has been put into a travel box to be transported to his new home. At the bachelor group, he'll join 3 other males: 12-year-old Paulo, 3-year-old Claude, who's the youngest of the trio, and 5-year-old Carlos, who Manny has lived with previously. Paulo and Manny are half-brothers. Their dad is Livar, and they share a familial likeness. But they're very different characters, and the care team will need to monitor their meeting closely. Paulo is watching as Manny arrives at the house. All 3 resident males are agitated. The many recent changes have made them wary. They'll want to size up the competition and make their mark straight away.
Okay, I'm going to open.
Claude starts alarm calling as Manny makes his way to the playroom entrance and surveys his new surroundings. Young Claude takes a strategic position up high and out of the way as the big male enters the playroom.
I know, he's a big boy, isn't he?
Paulo bravely takes the initiative with a small display in front of Manny. His reaction is a short snuffle hello before beginning to explore his new home. It's an early positive sign. Carlos lived with Manny for a couple of years. He doesn't seem desperate to renew his acquaintance, but doesn't show any aggression. Surprisingly, it's Manny who does his best to rekindle a friendship. The gesture is accepted, although they still keep their distance. But today's introductions suggest the experimental new woolly bachelor group has every chance of success. At the spider monkey enclosure, the team are on a mission to challenge the trio who make up this small group. Compared with other species at the park, like the clever capuchins and great apes, the spider monkeys aren't the brightest or most dexterous of primates. But keeping them challenged and active is still a vital part of their everyday life. Today, the care team are trying something new, and a bit tricky.
We've kind of got these plastic tubes, and I don't know if you can see, but there's a Kong inside there. So they haven't had these before, it's going to be completely new for them. And then inside the Kong, we've put their breakfast, so there's some pineapple in there, which is quite an exciting breakfast for these guys, actually. Spider monkeys love fruit. So yeah, we're just going to try and see what they make of them. So if we pull them down, the Kong goes back up in the tube just to make it a little bit harder.
The problem for the spider monkeys will be manipulating the fruit out of the feeders.
Their hands aren't quite as dexterous as ours, so they don't have a thumb. They've got 4 very long, kind of slender fingers. So yeah, they can't kind of grab and manipulate things quite like we can, or say some of our other monkeys like our Capuchins. I imagine they're going to try and get all the way up there, but there are some little holes and stuff they might try and put their fingers through. They might try and get in there from the top, although I don't think they'll have much luck with that. So yeah, we'll see.
As usual, Pumpkin, the boss of the trio and the only female, leads the way. She's a very food-orientated monkey and wastes no time trying to tackle this morning's puzzle. But she's already a little perplexed. She can't work out how to get inside the tube to reach the food she loves. Perhaps there's an easier option elsewhere. All 3 spider monkeys are a little bemused. They can see the fruit, they can reach in and touch it, but they're flummoxed when it comes to getting the fresh pineapple out of the tube. Pumpkin thinks she may have the answer. She uses her long prehensile tail as a 5th limb to free up both hands, so she can manipulate the feeder. But even with this useful advantage, she has no luck. Flint may have cracked it. He's gone for one of the shorter feeders, which is a bit more manageable. It takes some figuring out, but after a short while, using hands, feet and teeth, he extracts the Kong with the fruit still inside. Pleased with himself and determined to hang on to his prize, he heads off to eat the pineapple away from the others. Elderly Hickory bides his time, happy to watch and learn as his other 2 housemates try again. Flint dislodges a pineapple chunk without realising it. But Pumpkin, her food sensors on full alert, spots it on the ground. In the wild, in the tropical forests of Central South America, fruit makes up the majority of a spider monkey's diet. It's the same for the trio at the park. But frustrated Pumpkin is coming up empty-handed. She heads off down the tunnel in the hope of finding easier pickings indoors. There are 5 groups of Capuchins at the park, and they're continually on the go. Keeping these small monkeys challenged and active is a constant battle. They're considered the most intelligent of all the New World monkeys. Today, Toby is taking advantage of some of the seasonal fruits and plants found around the park. He's giving Franco's group of 15 some juicy ripe blackberries still attached to the prickly brambles, and teasel plants with mealworms stuffed into the seed heads. He's placing them all over the Capuchin enclosure in awkward and hard-to-reach places.
Throughout the year, we like to vary different things we put in, and obviously throughout the seasons, we have different things available. Obviously, they have the stuff that grows naturally in their enclosure, but anything we can give them to sort of challenge them and make it more enriching for them is really good. Capuchins are very, very intelligent, and they really need a lot of stimulation, get busy. And Franco's group particularly, they're a very, very bright group, they're very inquisitive, and they're a very, very feisty bunch. So if they're foraging and picking things up, it sort of keeps them out of trouble a bit more.
The Capuchins will need to assess how best to access the treats and use their dexterity and brain power to avoid the spiky plant tops and prickly thorns. The new additions to the enclosure spark their interest straight away, and they rush out to check out the unusual breakfast, making lots of happy Capuchin sounds. They're soon tucking in. The clever Capuchins are good at grasping and manipulating objects. It doesn't take them long to work out how to free the blackberries from the prickly thorns. Some of the brambles and teasels have been put in challenging locations, which are hard to reach. But it's not a problem for agile Fiona. The group is made up of 10 females and 5 males. Only 2 were wild-caught, Mary and Lucy. The rest were born in a Chilean laboratory. For the last 5 years, the whole troop has been led by Franco.
He surprised us. No one thought Franco would ever take over the group. He gave us no signs. He was always a bit of a whingy crybaby when he was younger, really. But he took over the group, and he's probably got the most challenging job of our male Capuchins, because he's got all the other young males underneath him that he has to keep in check, plus all the young feisty females. So, yeah, he's done really well, actually, with controlling his group and policing them. And then, to be honest, the girls, their hierarchy's been very up and down over the last 18 months. We've had a lot of changes, and they've still not really sorted it out at the moment, because Frida's Franco's favourite. She gets his backing if there is a fallout between them.
Franco's is the youngest group of Capuchins at the park. They've mostly grown up together, but have very different characters and varying abilities. Fabian and Donnie are the youngest members of the troop. Fabian is also one of the most athletic. He's an expert climber and the most likely to take on any challenge at height. He's also extremely intelligent and good at problem solving. He quickly works out how to get at the mealworms hidden in the teasel seed heads. Today's enrichment has proved to be a success for the primates and the staff.
It's one of the fun parts of the job, is being able to challenge them, because they are so intelligent. It really is fun challenging them, giving them new things and watching and seeing if they can solve it. And to be honest with the Capuchins, quite often if they can't solve it, they'll just destroy it and get the food anyway. And again, that's part of the fun of working with them. It's nice to see when they really have to work for something, and it keeps us on our toes as well.
Next time on Monkey Life, a gibbon family is released back into the wild at the park's sister sanctuary in Vietnam.
Whole family together, little baby on board, reaching out and grabbing its own bits and pieces. Only day 1, but good first day.
And, back at the park, Queen of Bubbles Arme doesn't share, not even with Big Boss Tuan.